You have a life. Go out and live it. We'll maintain your website, simplyweb.me. Visit us on the web at simplyweb.me.
Okay, so today we are going to build a quick flyer for people who are busy and on the go. Whether you be a marketing person who your designer's out or you don't have access to a designer, or you're a business professional and you don't necessarily want to take forever to do a quickie flyer. So I'm going to walk you through some quick steps that I have put together over the years as a commercial artist, graphic designer. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing you want to do is, I am using Affinity Designer. I like Affinity Designer, but if you have Illustrator, these principles will work for the most part in Illustrator as well. They'll also work in Photoshop. So let's open a new document, and we don't want a transparent background. We do want an 8.5 by 11, which is down here, letter size. And I want to do the margins at 0.35. I don't want a 1/2 inch. And then the bottom, I can do a 0.45. I like to have a little bit bigger at the bottom. And then my bleed, I want to do a 0.15. And I've got this, so if I click tab, this does them all in one shot. So we'll go ahead and create that. All right, so here is where we're going to get our sample from. I saw this video online, YouTube, and this person did theirs in Photoshop. And so I like the general idea. What you can do is, if you're in Windows, you can do an Alt print screen, and you should be able to paste it, Control V, okay, right into Affinity Designer. You can also do a Windows print screen, the Windows key and print screen, and that will put it in your screenshots. So if you go to Pictures, Screenshots, you can see I've done it twice. Now, the reason I don't like to necessarily paste it in. If I'm in a hurry, I'll just paste it in. But if you think you're going to need it later, I like to drag it in after I've created a screenshot. So what I would typically do with this is I would cut it, and I would go back to my project folder, and I'd put it in the assets folder, and I would delete this, and I would drag it in. This is how I typically do it. So I have a copy in my assets folder, so 6 months from now, I know where everything is. Okay, so now that we have this in as our sample, and the reason we're dragging this in is not necessarily, I like some ideas of this, but I'm not going to necessarily copy the whole thing verbatim. We're just going to use it. The biggest reason I bring stuff like this in is I use it for sizing, to give me an idea of sizing. So I really come from the school of thought of don't make me think. I don't really want to think about what size to make things. I find samples of stuff I like, and then I work accordingly from there. So now we have our sizes, okay? Now, there are some things that I have issues with this flyer, and this is just my opinion, but this flyer seems a little heavy on the right and a little light on the left. Now, I don't want to make assumptions about the person, but all of the trademarks are there that this culture, wherever this flyer was created, might be a right to left reading culture. And here in Western culture, we read left to right. And the reason I say that is that if I were designing this as is, I would do it like that. Because now my arrow, because this looks like a big giant arrow, is now pointing to my text. Okay? And this is pointing off the page. So I would rotate this to be pointing this way towards my text. Okay? But I'm going to go ahead and do it kind of as is, because in the design that I do, I strengthen this area to even out the content. So as we go through this, you'll see what I'm talking about. So the first thing I want to do is I want to lock this because this is our sample. And I'm just going to lock this down and we'll use that as a sample. Okay. But the first thing I want to do is I want to create my boxes. And so I'm going to go to my rounded square tool here. And I'm going to hold down Shift and I'm going to drag out a square. And I'm going to hold Shift again and I'm going to rotate it a couple turns to 45 degrees. Okay. And I'm going to drag that there. Okay. Then I'm going to go to my stroke panel and I'm going to set my stroke to about 25. That's a little big. I'm going to go down to a 20. All right, I can live with that. Now, if you notice, let's just slide this out of the way. The lines bleed off the page. It makes it look like a triangle. So I kind of want to do that. So let's snap it to the center of the page. Let's undo that. And let's hold Shift and drag all together. Okay, and we'll make it good and large because we can always bring it in. Okay, and that's close enough. It's close enough for me, right? It achieves my goal. Okay, now we can turn this, well, let's duplicate this, Control J, and we will drag it over here, and we'll do another Control J, and we will drag it over here. Okay, and now we will turn this off. Okay, those are a little tight. I'm going to drag this one down a smidge. And I'm also going to drag a guide into 4 1/4 center of the page. That's 4.15, 4.25. There we go. And let's just put these center. Okay, and I'm also going to find the half mark, which is 5.5. Oh, excuse me, 5.5 goes here. And your first instinct is to want to go here like this and fight that instinct. You don't want to necessarily do that. You want to have your line above center. It goes back to the rule of thirds, and I'm not going to get into that right now. If you're interested in the rule of thirds, there's tons of videos on it. It's a photography concept. Okay. So like I said, I was just going to use that as a general guide, but I don't necessarily like the percentage here of my curve. So I'm going to drop that down to 20. I'm going to tighten up these curves a smidge. Drop it down to 20. Make them a little bit more pointy. Okay, I like that. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and lock those for now. First of all, I'm going to do some house cleaning. So this is going to be bottom square. Okay, and then we'll copy that, Control C, and we'll move it to the bottom here. What's this one? This one is right square. So we'll paste and we'll go RT square. Okay, and we'll move that to the center. And this one is top. And we will paste that in. And we will go TOP. And then we will lock these for now. Okay, so that way nothing moves on us. Okay. All right, and then the next thing I want to do is I found all these assets I found in either vector stock. There it goes, vector stock right there. Okay, or I did these two were I'm Not Human or Not a Real Human. I will put a link in the description for all of these if you want to follow along. This is Pexels. This is Pixabay, Pexels, Screenshot, Pexels. So either Pexels, vector stock, Not a Real Human, etc. We'll go from there. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is because I am going to make this a real estate. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm not going to make it a food flyer. So we are not, and let's move this to the top so it covers everything we're doing. We're not going to do burgers and whatnot. We're going to do a real estate flyer here. Okay. So I want to bring in the logo. So let's bring in the logo, because the logo in most projects is your defining object. A lot of people want, I'm grabbing the wrong tool here, want their website, want their flyers, want their banners, want their whatever to look like their logo, have the same color scheme. So that's what we're going to do here. But I don't know what this font is, and I'm going to be using Montserrat, which is a free font. You can get it from Google Fonts, and I'll leave a link in the description for that as well. So let's go ahead and crop this down. Because the only thing I want is I just want this icon here. Okay, so we've cropped that down, and now let's do our bottom color swatches. This, let's take out the color. These are all gray, slight gray. Doesn't matter, we're going to be filling them with images in just a minute here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the logo in there, and now I'm going to put in real estate company. Okay, and I want to put that to a 24 point. Helps if you grab it with the right tool. Let's try again, 24 point, there you go. That might be a little big, but we'll just start with that for now. Okay, we'll zoom in. And I want to do Montserrat. Yes, that's definitely a little too big. So let's drop it down to a 21. Let's bring in our, not the leading, our tracking or kerning. We'll just bring it in probably to around a negative, I'm already a negative 80. Let's do negative 70, negative 50. Let's go negative 75. That's a little tight. Let's stick with maybe a negative 50. Okay, that's good. Drop that there. All right, and we'll do a Control J, and we'll put it underneath, and we will arrow it down, and we will have a tag phrase here. Servicing, commercial and residential properties. I'm probably going to have a typo here. And we'll drop that down to a 12. Let's get rid of servicing. And let's go ahead and do an ampersand. Some people, and I have a typo there. Okay. Commercial and residential properties. Now, I like to do things like this. So I'm going to go ahead and bold this, but I'm not going to bold that. I'm going to drop that back down to regular. And I'm going to bold this as well, which I don't typically like to do stuff like that. In that particular case, I would just make it all, I'm going to do a medium, and I'm going to drop it down to an 11. Okay. So that's a good start right there. We can work with that. Drop that down a smidge. So the next thing I want to do is I want to bring in my photos. So I want to bring in the top photo. So I will go back to my assets folder and I will bring in this photo here. And I just drag and drop. Now I know that you can go to the stock panel here and you can type in Pexels or Pixabay. But I don't know where they store these when you drag it in. When I go to the website and I download it, I can put it in my assets folder so I have it all in the same project folder because I forget later on, just in case. So little pro tip, you do you, whatever works for you. All right, so to drop that into the square there, to the top square, you just move your layer around. So here it is sitting on top of the square. You drag it down and you indent it, okay? And that just drops it right in. And I want to keep it below this blue line, but I don't want it to be too small because my next photo is pretty dominating. So we'll just start there for now. And it's locked. And to get it back, you click once, but if you double click, you get the image. Okay. Now you can always grab it from your layers panel because if you double click, you could move your square out of place. So just keep that in mind. All right, so let's grab the next image. So let's grab the commercial building. And I went out and I just did real estate at Pexels and Pixabay and whatnot. So then I'm going to drag this down here and I'm going to indent it. And I'd like to keep it that size, but see again, it's locked. I'm trying to grab it and it's locked. But I'm just going to stretch it for now. And I'm going to bring it in. I don't normally recommend that kind of stretching because it can distort the image, but in this particular case, it's such a dominating image. I'm trying to tone it down. So see, if I go down that, then I've got this white space here. And I could repeat the sky and do all of that, but like I said, if you're in a hurry, you can just make it work. See? Now, if you see that, now you've seen that I've distorted it, but if you were to see that, you wouldn't necessarily know that I distorted it. So now you can see why I need to make the house a little bigger, because this is such a dominating image. That's why I was trying to tone it down. And we can bring the house over here a little bit more centered. Okay, and keep in mind, these are placeholders. You're going to have your own images. This is just demo purposes to give you an idea of what you can do quickly inside of Affinity Designer as a marketing person who doesn't do this all day, every day. Okay, all right, so I'm going to now put a shadow on these squares right here. So to do that, I'm going to close them down and I'm going to go to my effects and I'm going to do outer shadow. And I think I'm going to mess around with this, start pulling these up, but I think I want this to be, let's see. Yes, I want it to go straight down. Okay, I want the light source to go straight down. And I want it a little bit darker. Okay, I think that'll work. I just want a little taste of a shadow. So let's do 17 there. And we'll bump this up to, let's just go 10. Okay, that'll work. All right, so that'll work. Gives it a little depth, brings it off the page, and we'll go from there. So what did we have? 75, 19, 10. So let's just copy that over here. Let's turn it on. 75, 19, tab, 10. Okay, tab. And again, we want the light source to go straight down. Keep it consistent. which means there's going to be no shadow on this bottom one. All right, we'll live with that. Otherwise, I could be here all day. Trust me. All right, so yeah, that's coming along. We got a nice little start here. Actually, I think I'm going to add my real estate agents in. Let's take a look here. So I have my 3 agents, and let's just drag them in. Drag him down. Let's drag her over. And drag her over as well. Okay. All right. Turn that on. And I want to lock these. Right square, I want to lock it so I don't move anything. I cannot tell you, you put a couple of hours into something and then grab it by mistake and drag it all off the page, and you got to spend another 20 minutes putting it back together. Not fun. Okay, housekeeping done. All right, so let's go ahead and deal with the agents. Now, if we look at our other one, they did circles, and they have a nice stroke around it or border around it, and then another dotted border around it, which I think is a nice little touch. So I think I'm going to take a look at that idea as well. So let's turn that off, turn off our sample, and let's go ahead and draw a circle. Okay, that border is way too thick. So let's drop it down to a 5. I think that'll work. And let's scroll in, drag this down to the bottom. Okay. And this is agent left. So let's create one. Let's turn this one off, and we'll create one, and then we'll duplicate it. So we'll bring the agent so she drops into the square, and we can make her a little bit bigger, but drop her down up here. Okay. I think that'll work. Now the black is a little heavy. The stroke color, let's just give it a 45 for now. That'll work for now. It lightens it up a bit. Now I also wanted to start bringing in my copy so I can start centering it, which means I want to bring in my social media icons. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's bring in the social media icons. So let's just drag this up for now. And let's go back to our assets folder. And we'll drag in our social media icons. And because this is a professional business and you can do whatever social media you want, this is just an idea. I'm just going to keep it simple. And I'm going to do LinkedIn. And I think I'm going to do Facebook. Again, you can do whatever works best for your group or your project. So let's go ahead and crop this down. I've got the crop tool, and I'm just cropping this down into the white space here, trying to get semi-close to the icon. We can scroll in and get closer because we're going to want to size them pretty close to each other. Okay. All right, scroll out, drag that down. Okay. Let's grab our crop tool, bring it in. Now we can size them. Okay, and let's do the move tool. And we can size this Facebook to approximately the same size. But see, I was taught that this may be approximately the same size. You saw the guides were showing me, yes, it's pretty close to the same size, but visually it looks small. So follow your eye and make them visually the same size to what works to you. And then you want to center them to each other, and we'll do that here. We'll center them, okay? And we will group those, and we'll call them social icons, okay? And you'll see why, and we'll just throw that down here. will call this right agent because she's going to be on the right. We got social icons. Okay. Now I also have, see, the reason I did that is then I can grab this, and I can center those up, and I can drop these down. Okay. Now I have some body copy that I want to add as well, right here. So we will call her Rachel Doe, Tammy Doe. Doesn't matter. I'll call her Tammy Doe. And we will just set our text. Okay, that is a little big. Okay. And we will drop it down to an 11 point. And we will center it. It is Montserrat. And we will drag it over here. We'll give it a little bit of leading. Now, here's what I was talking about as far as the bolding goes. So we want to bold her name. Okay, and we want to bold the phone number. And I like to offset them like that. It just adds a little bit of interest, helps it to be a little bit more legible. Let's check my kerning. That's a little tight. Let's go to a -20. Okay, that should work. All right, let's zoom out and take a look at that. Okay, now that copy is over here on our layers panel. We'll put it below the agent photo and above the social icons. And we will group that, Control G, and we will call that RT agent. Okay, and now we do a Control J, Shift and arrow over. Okay, Control J, Shift and arrow over. And now we've got our 3. Let's zoom out and let's grab all 3. Let's give a little bit more space here. We can shift this over to the right. And we can space them. Okay. Let them go. Zoom in. And let's line them up center. Okay. And now all we have to do is change the name. This was Rachel. Rachel Doe, right? And we could put her at, I don't know, outlook.com. And I believe he could be Johnny Doe at, let's do AOL. How's that? They're still around, believe it or not. And we'll do Johnny at AOL. Johnny's old school. All right, let's zoom out. Okay. Now we can, this is, oh, I'm sorry. She is left agent. Which one is that? Nope, that's right agent. So let's close these down and do a little bit of housekeeping here. So this one is truly right agent. What's this one? This one is center agent. Center agent. Okay, and we'll drag center agent to the center, and this is left. I don't know my left from right there. Okay, good. Good. Okay, so now we just have to swap out the photo. So, which we have right here. So we can just drop her right there, delete that one, and turn it on, zoom in so we see what we're doing, center it up, bring it down. Okay, that's a little funky right there. Those trees look a little funky, so I'd probably take her to the hairline there. take off 5 pounds. Okay. Right on. And that's Rachel. Okay. And she's center agent. And then right agent. We can open up the photo here. Drag Johnny over here. And let's see how Johnny looks. We can delete Tammy. And Johnny looks great. Johnny always looks great. But you want Johnny's head to be approximately the same size as the ladies' heads. See right here, he was a little small. But here, he's a little too big. So there you go. And let's bring him down. Center him up nicely. Okay. Nicely done. All right. And we can collapse that down. Right on. And we've got the logo. Well, I guess the logo was up there. And we can take a look at that. And that's not bad, right? It's coming along.
You have a life. Go out and live it. We'll maintain your website, simplyweb.me. Visit us on the web at simplyweb.me.
So now another thing is that I've noticed here our logo is colored. It has multiple colors here. And so I want to kind of follow along here. So what if we were to take the top square, unlock it real quick, top square, and we take our eyedropper here, and let's grab this gold off the logo, and we put it up there on the top. I kind of like that. So let's continue with that. Let's go to the right square, take our eyedropper, and let's try this green. Okay, and let's click it there, and that drops it into that one as well. And let's do the bottom. Let's grab the blue. See what we got here, the blue. And we click that. Yeah, that breathes some life into our flyer here. All right, so let's grab our copy. So here is our copy that we prepared. And we want to grab all of this right here. But I want to do it in stages. So I want to grab this. This is going to be our headline. So we'll grab copy and we'll paste it in. Okay, and that's not going to work right out of the gate. Well, the first thing is let's see here. Our team is ready to help. That is about the right size. Let's make that a little bigger. Let's go to 24. Okay, that's about as big as we're going to get. But I wanted this to be like a 36, 42. Let's try 36. Well, obviously that's not going to work because it's cutting into our stuff. And I wanted it bold. But what we can do is we can do that. And then we can drop this down to be what? Let's just size it down to be even with ready. Okay, let's take a look at that. But let's make ready to move. Let's bump it up. Ooh, can I get a 42? Let's try to get a 42. Let's just squeeze that back down to a negative 75. You can get away with it on headlines. You can go negative 75. See, I think we can get away with that. And let's do it here. Negative 75. And let's do it here. Negative 50. Let's do negative 50. Negative 50. That's a little better. 75 is just a tad too tight. Negative 50. And I think we can make this one maybe 36. All right, let's try down 35. 35 works. Yeah, that'll work. Now what we could do because this building is so darn obtrusive over here, just sticking right out in the middle of my flyer. Why don't we drag his happy tail? Oh, it's locked. Not dragging him anywhere. Let's drag his happy tail off my flyer. That gives me more white space between the squares, which I kind of dig. We can bring it down. All right. And this gives me a little more space here off the side because I kind of want my text to be there. Just about half an inch in. Okay, I'm going to turn off my guides and take a look here. All right, so now let's mess with leading. So here's some pro tips here. You highlight the single line that you want to move. You start dragging it up. You can bring it, you can tuck this D to the O right here. It's going to tuck nicely. That's about as close as I want it. Now the Y and the I here is a little too tight, so we need to give that some breathing room. So you highlight that line and you just drop it down. Okay, let's zoom out. Now because we gave so much breathing room here to here, it looks a little off. So let's pop this down maybe 2 clicks. Okay, so we still have our tucking a little bit, but we also have some breathing room. Okay, let's turn our guides back on. Let's move this to the half. Let's drag this out of the way. Move this to the half. 0.51, 0.50, close enough. Okay, and we'll just snap that there. Okay, I have my snapping turned on. All right, let's grab the second copy because those headlines may be too big. We'll have to see. Control C. And this time I want to do a frame text tool. So I'm going to go here like that. And I'm going to paste it. Okay. And I want this to be, well, it's Arial. First of all, let's change it to Montserrat. And let's change it to 15. Okay, and let's give it some leading. I like 19, 20, 22. Let's stick with 21 for now. But the reason you did a text tool, or excuse me, frame text as opposed to artistic text. Okay, here's the difference. Here's artistic text. If I wanted to maybe bring that in, see, it's going to condense my font. Okay, we don't want to condense the font. Control Z. Yeah, I think I'm going to bring this in a smidge. Bring it into 60. Split the difference. Okay. Right? So we don't want to condense the font. So we don't want to do that. Okay, Control Z. But we don't want our font over our block here. So we can do that. See that? And now this will do some wrapping for us. Now we're going to have to go in and finish the rest. Right? So this needs to come up higher. I can tell you that right now, because this needs to come up higher. And we can tuck that nicely right underneath there. And maybe I want to beef this up a little bit to a Montserrat medium. And I think I want to bring in the leading on that. You can get away with, or excuse me, the kerning. You can get away with like a -25. Oops. It's busyness needs. We represent commercial and residential properties. If you want a great team to help you find the property of your desires or business needs, give us a shout. We will help. So I want to make this maybe bold. And I also want to help you find the property. Let's do that, bold. And let's do this, bold. Let's do semi-bold, because bold is a little strong. That's one of the reasons why I like Montserrat, is it gives me choices. Keep in mind, we're using one font on this. That's another mistake that a lot of new students make when they come to my design classes. They put too many fonts on the page, and I tell them within the first couple of classes, I say 2 fonts at the most, and they just look at me like I'm crazy. You can't design with 2 fonts, really? I think you can. Okay. That's not going to work, is it? It's giving me funky stuff here. Okay, so I don't know if you've noticed this. I've got too much of a gap here because I'm putting in a hard return. I'm forcing it to do a hard return because I want to manually. So we're going to have to switch it to artistic text and do hard returns. So we do a Control-C. Okay. And now we can delete that. And now we can switch it to artistic text. And we drop it in. Okay, now I don't know if it's going to keep my bolds and my semi-bolds. So we may have to redo that. But now I should be able to do hard returns. Don't worry, I'll fix it. I'm seeing what you're seeing. Okay, all right, and we'll go like that. Now we can do a Control-A, and let's just bring up that leading. Okay, now see, I don't like that one by itself over there. I prefer that. And I'm going to do a Control-A to select all of it, and I'm going to bring that leading up 2 clicks more. Okay, I'm going to turn off all my guides. I got too many lines here. Can't see what I'm doing. Okay, I think I'm going to go a little bit more. I'm going to get aggressive on the kerning. I'm going to do a -40. All right, the semi-bold isn't doing it for me. So let's try the bold. Okay. And let's just bold the whole bottom statement there. I don't like to break it on commas. But I don't, see, I would like to do it here, but that's called a widow here. Okay? Okay? So, I want to do this. I'll live with that. Okay? I'm going to drop it down a smidge, which means I can drop this down a smidge. And I want to line them up. So I will do flush left, but I'll turn on my guide and we'll bounce them there. Okay. Turn off my guides, zoom out. That's looking pretty good. Now, the question is, can we get our phone number and website in there? We may have to make some changes here. So, but you see, I kind of made the text a little stronger over here, and now it counterbalances what we were having with the original. Where is the original? The original needs to be at the top. See, I got rid of that dark gray background. I added some color to the borders, okay? The only thing we've pretty much kept is the idea of the 3 triangles, or squares, if you will. I'm going to bring this up because I got to get that website in there. I got to get our phone number and our website in there. And I'm running out of room here. Okay, let's move on. I could be here all day messing around. All right, this is what we need to drop in. So let's drop that in. Control-C, and let's drop it in. Let's turn our guides back on. Scroll in, and we'll just paste it. Okay. Now, obviously, I want to bold that. Bold, but I want to make it 12. Okay. And let's bold this. Okay. And how big is this? I don't think it needs to be that big. I think 17. Okay. 18. I can tell you this, our website's not going to fit. So we have to make room. So let's bring this up. Tighten that up. Let's tighten this up. Okay. This is too tight here. Let's push it back down. Let's bring this up. Bring this down. See, it's just trial and error. Just moving stuff around. Okay. And let's bring it up here like that. And you know what? Here's what else we can do, because we're coming up so high and we don't have such a tight wrap here. We can actually stretch this out. So we can bring desires back up. We can bring help back up. And we can do at the or, give us a shout. There you go. Now, I don't know if I like the help there, so let's put the help back. And desires, business needs, give us a shout, we will help. Let's see how that looks. Let's zoom out, see how much space that bought us. See, now we might be able to get that website in there. And we can maybe give this a click more letting. You got to let type breathe. That's the way I was taught. Let's take a look at the help back here. I didn't zoom out. Okay, help you find. Anyway, we'll leave that for now. Turn off our guides, take a look at that. Let's zoom out some more. It's a little tight. I don't think we gained anything, and I think it looked better this way. See, that looks nice. And we can drop this down. Pretty good. It's a little tight here. Okay. So let's zoom in. What size is this? I think I want to make those all caps. And I want to drop them down to an 11. If you can all cap it, you can go down a smaller size. They were 12. So we had them 12. And it was bold, right? Okay. But we all capped it. So you can drop it down to an 11 and get away with it. Okay. And I don't like to do this, but I've seen it done. Okay, we could do it like that. But I think we're running into trouble. So I don't think I want to do it. So what size is this? Oh, it's 21. Let's try 18. Still a little tight. Okay, so I have a space here. So let's take a look here. Let's highlight the whole thing, see what our letting is. Let's drop it down to a 10. That's too tight. Okay, we do the whole thing. Okay, so 16 points, pretty good. But here, it's too much, see? And I put my text tool there, right there in the blank line. I hold shift and I right arrow and I highlight it. And I can take that blank space out. Okay. And I think I can come up, a click here, and I think I can come up, a click here. Okay, and now we've cleared the blue line, and we can bring this up a little bit. Now remember, we can drop our blue line down too. We can unlock that, and we can drop it down because we have room. Our agents, our 3 agents can come down a little bit further, which means our logo can come down a little bit further, which means our circle can come, or excuse me, our square can come down. Okay, and that buys us some room. And I want to do this here. I like to bold here. I would bold this just to break it up. Makes it a little easier to read. Okay. All right, that's looking good. This is a little tight here. This is a little tight here. This is a little tight. All right. That is looking pretty good. I want to drop this down a little bit more. And I'm going to bring my agents down a little bit more. And I could bring in 1, 2. That's a little tight. Let's just go with 1. And let's bring Johnny in 1. And let's grab all of them, turn on our guides, and center them back up. That buys me a little bit of room. Okay, turn my guides off, and I think they can come up. They're a little far from the logo. Okay, but remember, now we have gap issues here and here. So we have to bring, and now we're running into, turn on our guides. Now we're coming close to the middle line. Let's grab our, it's locked. Grab our right square. There we go. Okay. Now our top square looks a little lonely up there. So you really don't have it done until all your elements are on the page. Now what we can do is we can drop this down. What is this right here? That's a 42. So let's just drop it down to a 40. That helps. Let's drop this down to a 21. That helps. And let's drop this down to a 32. That helps, right? That gives us a little bit of room because now we can nest this up a little bit. Couple clicks up, bring this a couple clicks up, or 1. Oh, let's go 2, see what happens. And we can bring this up a click. Okay. Zoom out, take a look, and now we can bring this up a smidge. It's just a matter of making it work. You have options. Okay, these are all pro tips. This is how it's done as a professional artist. Okay? This is what graphic designers do all day, every day. They're just making design choices, compromise. All right, I think we have a winner chicken dinner there. That's what I think. Okay, so there you go. We took a flyer idea off the web as a concept. We didn't copy it exactly because we have a real estate company and we're not doing burgers. And we created a real estate flyer that works for our boss at the company. And you saw me do it step by step. And you too can do it step by step for yourself and for your boss. Now, another big mistake that not only do new student designers make is having multiple fonts. Keep in mind, this is one text face. Montserrat is all of this. Another mistake that students make is they put too much text on the page. This is what it's all about right there. That's it right there. And in fact, let's add some color here. And I think we can bring it up. There you go. Okay, I could be doing this all day, folks. Anyway, I hope you learned something. I hope you liked the video as much as I liked making it. And, get out there and give it a shot. Okay, links are in the description for everything that we've done here. And if you didn't like the video, please leave a comment. All right, well, thanks for stopping by and you take care. You have a great day.